Dr. Jex Myrna gazed out over the view screen, taking in the pale blue dot that was Earth. Floating within the vast, cosmic sea, the high-ranking scientist from the Lyrax Coalition had studied hundreds of alien species across his lengthy career, yet none had captured his curiosity like humanity. They were primitive in many ways, confined to a single solar system, yet there was something about their relentless tenacity that intrigued him. Earth's surface shimmered with life, and its orbit was dotted with man-made satellites, a testament to their attempts at advancement. Behind him, Admiral Thomas Voren observed the planet with less fascination and more skepticism. Voren was a hardened commander, a veteran of multiple planetary conquests, and he found the Coalition's interest in humans excessive. "They're chaotic, Dr. Jex," Voren muttered, his cold voice echoing through the sterile bridge. "Prone to conflict with themselves. What could they possibly contribute to the Coalition?" Dr. Jex's gelatinous form quivered in thought, his many eyes trained on the holographic display of Earth's diverse ecosystems. "Perhaps that very chaos is what makes them unique," he replied. "Humans have an impressive history of resilience. They're adaptable, even in situations that might drive other species to extinction. I believe there's value in understanding such resilience." Voren snorted. "Resilience, perhaps, but look at them. Divided, always at odds. They can't even agree on how to govern themselves. And yet, here we are, studying them as if they were on the brink of greatness." Jex's appendages danced across the controls, and the image zoomed in on Earth's major cities, showcasing towering skyscrapers and sprawling urban landscapes. "That's precisely why they fascinate me, Admiral. They've endured wars, natural disasters, political upheavals, and they still persist. In the face of adversity, they adapt." Voren raised an eyebrow. "Then perhaps you should add stubborn to your report, Doctor." Their conversation was interrupted by the approach of a junior officer who had been monitoring the ship's external sensors. "Admiral Dr. Jex, our cloaking measures are fully operational, but Earth's defensive systems have detected our presence on the outer fringes of their solar system. They appear to be mobilizing a response." Voren's eyes narrowed as he turned to Jex. "Well, Doctor, it seems your resilient humans are already showing their teeth." Jex was silent, watching the human response unfold on his screens. Earth's various military branches seemed to coordinate with surprising efficiency, scrambling their ships and activating orbital defenses. The world that moments ago had appeared serene and vulnerable was now bristling with activity. "Interesting," Jex murmured, his appendages twitching with excitement. "They're responding faster than we anticipated." The junior officer continued. "We're detecting encrypted communications across multiple nations, and it appears they're uniting their forces under a singular command structure." Voren frowned. This is unexpected. Perhaps they're not as fragmented as we thought." On the view screen, Earth's United Nations Defense Force mobilized in record time. Ships launched from bases across the planet, their thrusters blazing as they moved into strategic positions. The Coalition's usual method of scouting and intimidation might not be as effective here, Jex realized. Admiral Voren's expression shifted to one of mild concern. "Should we abort the mission, Doctor?" "Jex, I won't risk our fleet for a primitive species." Jex shook his head. "No, Admiral, we must press forward. This response only confirms my hypothesis. Humans possess a unique adaptability. Let's proceed with caution, but continue observing." Reluctantly, Voren gave the order. The Coalition fleet held its position, just outside the range of Earth's defenses, cloaked but watchful. From the comfort of their ship, the Lyrax observed the unfolding activity on Earth, witnessing the planet's response as if it were some grand experiment. Dr. Jex activated a direct link to the Lyrax homeworld, ready to relay the initial findings. "High Counselor Vexia," he greeted, bowing his head in respect as her crystalline form shimmered into view on the holographic display. "Dr. Jex," she responded, her voice as clear and sharp as glass. "What have you observed?" "High Counselor, it appears Earth's inhabitants have detected our presence despite our cloaking technology. They are mobilizing at an unexpected speed and efficiency." The High Counselor's eyes flashed. "How intriguing. Continue with the mission, but proceed carefully. We do not want an incident." Jex nodded. "Of course, High Counselor. However, I should note that humanity's response indicates a level of unity and readiness we hadn't anticipated. They may not react kindly to unannounced visitors." Vexia's crystalline fingers tapped rhythmically as she considered this. "So they are not as disorganized as we believed?" "Precisely," Jex replied. "They appear to be working together under a single defense command. This level of cooperation, despite their differences, could make them a formidable force if provoked." "Then do not provoke them," she instructed, her voice firm. "Monitor and report. This is an observation mission only, Dr. Jex. I trust you will adhere to that." As the transmission ended, Jex turned back to Voren, who had been listening closely. "You heard the High Counselor, Admiral. We are to observe only." Voren's gaze remained fixed on Earth's mobilizing forces. "Very well, but I have my doubts. A species like this could be unpredictable. They may not respond well to our presence, regardless of our intent." Jex nodded thoughtfully. "I understand your concern, Admiral. That's why we must proceed with caution and respect their boundaries." The hours ticked by as the Lyrax Coalition ship held its position, cloaked in the shadow of a nearby asteroid. Earth's mobilization continued unabated, with defense systems coming online and weaponized satellites being repositioned. It was an impressive display for a species that, until now, had seemed like mere children in the eyes of the Coalition. Finally, the tension broke when a transmission from Earth pierced the silence. The Coalition's communication system crackled as a message in the human's primary language filtered through. The words were bold and direct, spoken with authority. "This is General Yara Singh of the United Nations Defense Force. We have detected your presence in our system. State your identity and purpose, or leave at once." Voren stiffened, visibly taken aback by the audacity of the demand. He glanced at Jex, who appeared equally fascinated and impressed. "It seems your humans are not afraid to assert themselves, Doctor," Voren said with a thin smile. Jex's eyes gleamed with excitement. "Indeed, Admiral. I think this mission just became far more interesting." The two aliens exchanged a glance, both understanding that they were no longer dealing with a species of mere curiosity. The Lyrax Coalition had underestimated Earth, and now they were beginning to see the potential consequences of their underestimation. This was not just another primitive planet. Humanity was proving itself as a force that demanded respect. As the Earth's defense network buzzed to life, General Yara Singh stood in the command center, eyes fixed on the large holographic map before her. The alien ships, though cloaked, had been detected through subtle gravitational anomalies on the edge of the solar system. It had been a long-standing protocol to monitor for any such disturbances, an uneasy precaution against the unknown. Now, for the first time, Earth had reason to respond, and Yara Singh was ready. A murmur rippled through the command center as analysts fed her updates from around the globe. Satellite feeds, military bases, and defense grids in every nation were coordinating, forming a unified response. Generals from different countries appeared in the holographic display, sharing quick status reports and advice. Despite their different backgrounds, they were operating as one team, Earth's last line of defense. "All satellite-based missile systems are in position," reported one officer, her voice steady. "Defense grids are fully powered." "Orders, General." Singh's gaze didn't waver. "We don't fire unless fired upon. But I want every single eye on those ships. We're dealing with an unknown threat here, and we must be prepared to respond. Notify the international stations to hold their positions." From her console, she activated a secure channel to the other global leaders who were watching from their respective locations. President David Martinez, the appointed coordinator of Earth's collective defense effort, appeared on the screen, his expression firm. "General Singh, are we prepared to face whatever this is?" Singh nodded. "Yes, Mr. President. Our forces are on high alert. We may be dealing with a technologically advanced species, but we've come a long way ourselves. We can hold the line." President Martinez nodded, his expression a blend of determination and pride. "Let's make it clear that Earth is not to be trifled with. If they're peaceful, they'll respect our resolve. If not, they'll learn what unity looks like on this planet." The call ended, and Singh returned her focus to the task at hand. Her mind raced with strategies, her years of military training working to anticipate possible outcomes. The alien vessels had yet to make any direct moves, but the sheer size of their fleet on the scanner hinted that they weren't here for a simple exploration. Their intent was unclear, but Earth would not wait to find out if it could mean harm. Meanwhile, aboard the Lyrax Coalition's flagship, Admiral Thos Voren watched the Earth's mobilization unfold with a mixture of disbelief and frustration. This wasn't how he'd expected things to go. In his mind, the humans were still a fledgling species, and the Lyrax's advanced technology should have rendered Earth defenseless. But here they were, responding with a level of coordination and discipline that unnerved even a hardened commander like Voren. "Dr. Jex," Voren said, addressing the scientist beside him, "do you still believe these creatures are worthy of our attention? They're responding as if they're ready for war." Dr. Jex's many eyes remained trained on the human's activity, his expression one of deep fascination. "It's precisely this response that makes them worthy, Admiral. Look at them. They are different from any species we've encountered. They band together, even as a diverse collection of nations, to face an unknown threat. This unity, it's rare. Vorin waved a dismissive hand. Unity or not, they are no match for the Lyrax coalition. Their defensive grid may be impressive for their level, but our technology is generations ahead. Jex inclined his head thoughtfully. Perhaps, Admiral, but it would be a grave mistake to underestimate them. Before Vorin could reply, the communications officer announced, "Incoming transmission from Earth. It's directed at our position." The bridge fell silent. Even Vorin straightened, intrigued by the boldness of the humans. This would be their first formal exchange. "On screen," Vorin ordered. The view screen flickered to life, revealing General Singh, her stern gaze and steady expression, a clear message of Earth's resolve. She wore a simple military uniform, her stance unwavering. She was not here to negotiate timidly, but to make Earth's stance known. "This is General Yara Singh of the United Nations Defense Force," she began, her voice calm and measured. "You have entered Earth's sovereign space unannounced and with an armed fleet. State your purpose or vacate immediately." Vorin's gelatinous form quivered slightly, more out of irritation than surprise. "Greetings, General Singh. I am Admiral Thos Vorin of the Lyrax Coalition. We are here to observe and understand your species. No harm is intended. Our purpose is peaceful." Singh's expression didn't soften. "A peaceful fleet does not arrive cloaked and armed. Your actions have put our planet on high alert, Admiral. If your intentions are sincere, then show it by maintaining your current position and powering down your weapons. Anything else will be viewed as a hostile act." Vorin's irritation grew. Humans didn't dictate terms to the Lyrax Coalition. "General, I would remind you that we are here at our discretion. You do not set conditions for the Coalition." Singh raised an eyebrow, a hint of steel in her voice. "On Earth we do. If you wish to observe us peacefully, you will respect our protocols. Anything less, and we will defend our home. This isn't a negotiation, Admiral. It's a warning." A tense silence followed. Dr. Jex observed the interaction intently, his mind racing. He admired the General's composure and conviction. He could see that she wasn't simply issuing threats. She believed every word she said. It was refreshing in a way. Many species they'd encountered would have groveled at the sight of the Coalition's power, but the humans seemed undeterred. Finally, Vorin relented, realizing that this standoff wasn't going to end without some form of compromise. "Very well, General Singh. We will hold our position and refrain from any hostile action." Singh nodded. "That would be wise, Admiral. I hope for both our sakes that your intentions remain as peaceful as you claim." The screen went dark, and the silence on the bridge was thick with the weight of the exchange. Vorin's pride was visibly wounded, but he masked it well. "Doctor," he said coldly, "do not misinterpret my cooperation as submission. This is a temporary measure." Jex gave a nod of understanding. "Of course, Admiral, but I believe you made the correct choice. The humans are formidable in their own way. Pushing them now could lead to consequences we haven't anticipated." Vorin grumbled, but his attention was already shifting to a new development. The Earth's defensive grid continued to adapt, satellites aligning in response to the Coalition's slightest movements. It was as if humanity anticipated every potential maneuver. "Mark my words, Doctor," Vorin muttered, his voice low. "They may appear brave now, but we will see just how long they can maintain that confidence. When the Coalition decides to act, they won't be prepared." Dr. Jex remained silent, his eyes trained on Earth's display. He wasn't so sure. The humans' ability to rally and unify was unlike anything he'd encountered. There was something powerful about a species that could set aside its own differences in the face of a common threat. As the tension simmered, Jex began to wonder if perhaps the humans had a few more surprises in store. Hours passed since the initial exchange between Earth's General Yara Singh and the Lyrax Coalition's Admiral Thos Vorin. Earth's defense forces remained in a tense, watchful stance, ready to respond to any perceived hostility. The atmosphere was charged, a collective pulse of anticipation and caution spreading across the planet's military command centers. Diplomats worked to keep citizens calm, but the air was thick with the unsettling realization that humanity was no longer alone, and that its first contact with alien life might not be peaceful. On board the Lyrax Coalition flagship, Admiral Vorin was struggling to contain his frustration. He had not expected such resistance from what he deemed a primitive species. In his experience, first contact with a lesser civilization typically ended in submission or, at most, reluctant acceptance of the Coalition's dominance. Earth, however, was proving to be an exception. The Lyrax High Council had been closely following the developments from their distant homeworld. The reports Vorin and Dr. Jex Myrna relayed left them puzzled and irritated. Earth was proving to be an inconvenience rather than a conquest, and they were running out of patience. A transmission crackled to life on Vorin's bridge, and the form of High Counselor Vexia appeared, her crystalline body shimmering with faint irritation. "Admiral Vorin," she began, her tone crisp. "This situation is progressing slower than anticipated. Have you not issued the terms of integration?" Vorin straightened, his gaze fixed on Vexia. "High Counselor, the humans are more complicated than we had previously assessed. They are unified in their resistance, and their response suggests they would rather fight than yield. I have maintained the peace as you instructed, but they seem unwilling to negotiate on any grounds that don't respect their sovereignty." Vexia's crystalline form pulsed with barely concealed frustration. "Admiral, the Lyrax Coalition does not negotiate with subjugated species. We bring peace and order. We do not yield to their demands." Dr. Jex intervened cautiously, his voice soft. "High Counselor, if I may, the humans are unlike the species we have encountered. Their unity in the face of our presence is both remarkable and unprecedented. It might be wise to proceed with caution and perhaps grant them a degree of respect." Vexia's form flickered slightly, indicating her displeasure. "Dr. Jex, your curiosity is noted, but the Coalition's position is not negotiable. Admiral Vorin, you are to issue an ultimatum. Inform the humans that they are to integrate with the Lyrax Coalition. They will dismantle their military infrastructure and adhere to our guidance. In exchange, we offer them protection and technological advancement." Dr. Jex's expression tightened, but he remained silent, sensing that any protest would be futile. He glanced at Admiral Vorin, who wore a thin smile that barely concealed his pride. This was the opportunity he had been waiting for, a chance to assert the Coalition's dominance. Vorin inclined his head toward Vexia. "It will be done, High Counselor. Earth will see reason." The transmission ended, and Vorin turned to Dr. Jex. "Prepare the message, Doctor. The humans have had enough time to witness our presence. Let's see how they respond to the prospect of a brighter future under our guidance." Jex hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "Admiral, with all due respect, we may be underestimating the strength of their resolve. Humanity has a deep-seated need for independence. They may view our ultimatum as an infringement upon their freedom." Vorin waved a dismissive hand. "They'll adapt, Doctor. Once they see the Coalition's might, they will understand that resistance is futile." Dr. Jex set to work, crafting a message that he knew would test humanity's tolerance. As he relayed the ultimatum to Earth, a sense of foreboding settled over him. He had studied the human psyche and knew their history of resilience and defiance. This ultimatum would only serve to provoke them, but he was bound by duty to his superiors. On Earth, the ultimatum sparked immediate tension. The message was delivered directly to the United Nations Defense Command, where it was quickly relayed to President David Martinez and General Singh. Together, they reviewed the Coalition's demands, their expressions hardening with each line. "This is unacceptable," Martinez said, his voice cold. "They demand we dismantle our military, strip us of our defenses, and submit to their oversight. That's not protection, it's occupation." Singh's gaze was sharp. "They didn't even attempt a diplomatic approach. They expect us to surrender without question, like we're some backwater colony." Martinez nodded, his expression set. "General, Earth has faced its own wars, its own tyrants. We have struggled for centuries to gain our freedom. We will not surrender it to some distant empire that believes itself our superior." The UN Defense Command room was silent as leaders from around the world weighed the ultimatum. It wasn't just an invasion threat. It was a demand for complete subjugation. Humanity's answer, however, was unanimous. The president addressed Earth in a global broadcast, his voice clear and resolute. "Citizens of Earth, we stand at a historic moment. An alien civilization has reached out to us, not in peace, but with an ultimatum. They demand that we submit, that we relinquish our defenses, our autonomy, our freedom. But we are one planet, united by a shared desire for independence. We will not bow. If the Lyrax Coalition believes we will surrender, they have sorely misjudged who we are." Across the planet, people watched, moved by the president's words. Humanity's past was fraught with division and conflict, but at this moment, facing a threat from beyond the stars, they were more unified than ever before. At the same time, General Singh sent a response to the Lyrax Coalition. It was a brief message, succinct and to the point. "To the Lyrax Coalition, Earth rejects your ultimatum. We will defend our sovereignty, our freedom, and our home. Approach further at your own risk. The message was transmitted back to the Coalition's flagship, where Vorin received it with an expression of cold satisfaction. So they choose defiance, he murmured, almost as if he had expected it. Dr. Jex, however, felt a pang of unease. He could sense that this decision would not end well for either side. The humans were more than a mere subjugated species, and now that they had issued a formal rejection, the Lyrax Coalition would likely respond with force. Vorin's voice broke his thoughts. Prepare the fleet. If Earth will not join us willingly, we will take what we need by force. Jex could only watch as the Coalition fleet prepared to advance. He had warned them, tried to make them see the value in respecting humanity's independence, but his warnings had been disregarded. Now, he feared, they would witness the full extent of humanity's determination. The fleets began to align in formation, readying for what might be humanity's last stand. Yet as Dr. Jex looked back at the distant blue planet, he couldn't shake the feeling that Earth's inhabitants had a few surprises yet to reveal. Admiral Thos Vorin stood on the bridge of the Lyrax Coalition flagship, his gaze fixed on the swirling blue and green sphere of Earth. The fleet was assembled and ready, a formidable armada of advanced warships, each bristling with weaponry capable of subduing entire civilizations. Vorin's pride swelled as he surveyed his forces. The time for observation was over. The humans had made their choice. All ships are in formation, Admiral, reported the tactical officer, his multiple eyes reflecting the myriad of lights from the control panels. Awaiting your command. Dr. Jex Myrna hovered nearby, a deep frown etched across his features. Admiral, I implore you to reconsider. An outright attack may lead to unnecessary loss on both sides. Perhaps a demonstration of strength without direct aggression would suffice. Vorin dismissed him with a sharp gesture. Your caution is noted, Doctor. But the High Council expects results. The humans have rejected our generous offer. Now, they will witness the consequences of defiance. On Earth, General Yara Singh stood in the Global Defense Command Center, the room abuzz with urgent chatter. Satellite images displayed the Lyrax fleet edging closer, their formations unmistakably aggressive. Technicians and officers relayed information back and forth, coordinating Earth's response. Enemy vessels are advancing, announced one of the officers. They're within range of our outer defense grid. Singh nodded, her expression resolute. Activate all defense systems. Prepare to engage on my command. Inform all units to execute Operation Aegis. Around the world, Earth's forces moved in unison. Ground-based missile silos opened. Spacefaring fighter jets launched from carriers, and orbital defense platforms powered up their weaponry. Nations that had once been rivals now stood shoulder to shoulder, united against a common foe. In orbit, the first wave of Lyrax fighters broke formation, darting toward Earth's satellites and defense stations. They fired pulses of searing plasma, aiming to disable communications and create chaos. But Earth's defenses held firm. Automated turrets tracked the incoming ships, unleashing volleys of kinetic missiles and laser beams. The initial clashes were intense. Lyrax ships, sleek and advanced, wove through Earth's defensive fire with practiced ease, but they soon encountered unexpected resistance. Earth's weapon systems were more sophisticated than the Coalition had anticipated. The humans had developed technologies that, while different, were highly effective. Admiral Vorin's confidence began to waver as reports came in. We're experiencing losses on the outer rim, reported the tactical officer. Their defense grid is more robust than expected. Vorin scowled. Deploy the second wave. Overwhelm them with numbers. Meanwhile, Dr. Jex analyzed the data streaming in. Admiral, the humans are employing adaptive tactics. They're coordinating their defenses across multiple platforms, adjusting in real time to our movements. Then we'll hit them harder, Vorin snapped. Prepare the ion cannons. Target their primary defense installations. Back on Earth, General Singh watched as the battle unfolded on the holographic displays. She turned to her team. They're intensifying their attack. Initiate Phase 2. At her command, hidden compartments across Earth's moon opened, revealing arrays of railguns and particle beam cannons that had been kept secret from even Earth's own allies. These weapons fired with devastating effect, catching the Lyrax fleet off guard. Several enemy ships were crippled or destroyed in quick succession. Admiral Vorin's eyes widened as explosions dotted the battlefield. What is this? How did they? Dr. Jex couldn't hide his admiration. They've weaponized their moon. Ingenious. Frustration boiling over, Vorin barked orders. All ships, full assault. We will not be humiliated by a primitive world. The Lyrax fleet surged forward, unleashing a torrent of firepower. Earth's orbital defenses strained under the onslaught. Satellites were obliterated, and debris began to clutter the space around the planet. Yet, Amidst the destruction, Earth's forces adapted once more. "General Singh," an officer called out, "we've lost contact with several defense platforms." Singh remained calm. "Deploy the Valkyrie squadrons. It's time." From bases hidden beneath the Earth's oceans and polar ice caps, squadrons of advanced fighter craft ascended. These ships, products of humanity's most secret projects, were piloted by the best and equipped with cutting-edge technology, plasma shields, cloaking capabilities, and weapons that could disrupt the Lyrax ship's systems. The Valkyries sliced through space, engaging the Lyrax fighters with ferocity and skill. They exploited weaknesses in the coalition ships, using hit-and-run tactics that sowed confusion among the alien ranks. Admiral Vorin watched in disbelief as his fleet's formation began to crumble. "How is this possible?" he roared. "They are outmaneuvering us." Dr. Jex stepped forward. "Admiral, we underestimated their ingenuity and resourcefulness. Their technology may be different, but it's effective. I recommend we withdraw and reassess." Vorin glared at him. "Never. I will not retreat in the face of such insolence." On Earth, President David Martinez addressed the world from an underground command center. His image was broadcast across every screen, his voice firm. "People of Earth, we face an unprecedented challenge, but know this: we stand together, united and strong. Our courage and resolve will see us through." In the midst of battle, General Singh received a priority message. An engineer appeared on her screen, excitement evident. "General, Project Leviathan is operational. We can deploy at your command." Singh's eyes narrowed. "Are we certain it's ready?" "Yes, General. It's now or never." She took a deep breath. "Do it." From the depths of the Atlantic Ocean, a massive structure began to rise. The Leviathan, a colossal warship equipped with experimental technologies. As it breached the surface and ascended into space, its presence was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Admiral Vorin's sensors picked up the new threat. "What now?" he muttered. The Leviathan locked onto the largest of the Lyrax ships and fired a concentrated energy beam. The beam pierced the coalition ship's shields, slicing through its hull. The stricken vessel erupted in a blaze of light. Panic rippled through the Lyrax fleet. Their advantage was slipping away, and their losses were mounting. Dr. Jex seized the moment. "Admiral, we must retreat. Continuing this assault will only lead to our destruction." Vorin's pride battled with reason. His tentacles clenched, but he knew Jex was right. "Order the fleet to fall back," he said through gritted teeth. But this isn't over. As the Lyrax ships began to withdraw, cheers erupted across Earth's command centers, but General Singh remained cautious. "Hold your positions," she ordered. "They may attempt a counterattack." Dr. Jex couldn't hide his admiration. "They've weaponized their moon. Ingenious." Frustration boiling over, Vorin barked orders. "All ships, full assault. We will not be humiliated by a primitive world." The Lyrax fleet surged forward, unleashing a torrent of firepower. Earth's orbital defenses strained under the onslaught. Satellites were obliterated, and debris began to clutter the space around the planet. Yet, amidst the destruction, Earth's forces adapted once more. "General Singh," an officer called out, "we've lost contact with several defense platforms." Singh remained calm. "Deploy the Valkyrie squadrons. It's time." From bases hidden beneath the Earth's oceans and polar ice caps, squadrons of advanced fighter craft ascended. These ships, products of humanity's most secret projects, were piloted by the best and equipped with cutting-edge technology, plasma shields, cloaking capabilities, and weapons that could disrupt the Lyrax ship's systems. The Valkyries sliced through space, engaging the Lyrax fighters with ferocity and skill. They exploited weaknesses in the coalition ships, using hit-and-run tactics that sowed confusion among the alien ranks. Admiral Vorin watched in disbelief as his fleet's formation began to crumble. "How is this possible?" he roared. "They are outmaneuvering us." Dr. Jex stepped forward. "Admiral, we underestimated their ingenuity and resourcefulness. Their technology may be different, but it's effective. I recommend we withdraw and reassess." Vorin glared at him. "Never. I will not retreat in the face of such insolence." On Earth, President David Martinez addressed the world from an underground command center. His image was broadcast across every screen, his voice firm. "People of Earth, we face an unprecedented challenge, but know this: we stand together, united and strong. Our courage and resolve will see us through." In the midst of battle, General Singh received a priority message. An engineer appeared on her screen, excitement evident. "General, Project Leviathan is operational. We can deploy at your command." Singh's eyes narrowed. "Are we certain it's ready?" "Yes, General. It's now or never." She took a deep breath. "Do it." From the depths of the Atlantic Ocean, a massive structure began to rise. The Leviathan, a colossal warship equipped with experimental technologies, as it breached the surface and ascended into space, its presence was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Admiral Voron's sensors picked up the new threat. "What now?" he muttered. The Leviathan locked onto the largest of the Lyrax ships and fired a concentrated energy beam. The beam pierced the Coalition ship's shields, slicing through its hull. The stricken vessel erupted in a blaze of light. Panic rippled through the Lyrax fleet. Their advantage was slipping away, and their losses were mounting. Dr. Jex seized the moment. "Admiral, we must retreat. Continuing this assault will only lead to our destruction." Voron's pride battled with reason. His tentacles clenched, but he knew Jex was right. "Order the fleet to fall back," he said through gritted teeth. But this isn't over. As the Lyrax ships began to withdraw, cheers erupted across Earth's command centers, but General Singh remained cautious. "Hold your positions," she ordered. "They may attempt a counterattack." However, the Lyrax fleet continued to retreat, disappearing beyond the range of Earth's sensors. The immediate threat had passed, but the cost had been high. Wreckage littered Earth's orbit, and several defense systems were compromised. President Martinez addressed the planet once more. "Today, we faced an enemy from beyond our world and stood our ground. This victory belongs to all of us, a testament to what we can achieve when united. But we must remain vigilant. This battle may be won, but the war is far from over." In the silence of space, Dr. Jex pondered the day's events. Humanity had proven itself to be a formidable opponent, clever, resilient, and unyielding. He feared what might come next if the Lyrax coalition continued on this path. Admiral Voron brooded in his chambers, anger simmering. "They will pay for this humiliation," he vowed. "I will bring the full might of the coalition upon them." Dr. Jex, hearing the Admiral's words, knew he had to act. The fate of both species hung in the balance, and he was determined to find a way to prevent further bloodshed. Humanity had shown their strength, and the universe had begun to shiver at what might happen when humans got angry. The Lyrax coalition fleet drifted back to a safe distance, battered and reeling from the unexpected resistance Earth had shown. In the heart of the coalition flagship, Admiral Thos Voron seethed, his tentacles coiling with rage. His pride had suffered a crushing blow. Never before had a species resisted so fiercely, nor had any planet cost him so much. To him, the human's defiance was intolerable. He was already formulating plans for a devastating counterattack. "Admiral, please," Dr. Jex Myrna urged, his voice cautious. "We have severely underestimated humanity's resourcefulness. Attacking them again may only provoke an even stronger retaliation." Voron's eyes flashed dangerously. "You are a scientist, Jex, not a warrior. You observe, you hypothesize, but you lack the conviction to conquer. I will not let this insolent species stain the reputation of the coalition." Despite his position, Jex couldn't ignore the growing unease gnawing at him. The humans had displayed remarkable tactical ingenuity, a trait uncommon among less advanced civilizations. They had fought not only with brute force but also with strategies that capitalized on Earth's unique resources. Jex had spent years studying the psychological makeup of countless species, and he had never encountered one that so fiercely guarded its independence. He feared that if Voron pushed them further, the humans might reveal even greater capabilities. "Admiral," Jex said softly, choosing his words carefully, "humans possess an unpredictability that even our most advanced simulations cannot anticipate. I urge you to reconsider a direct confrontation. There may be other ways to secure cooperation without further bloodshed." Voron scoffed. "Cooperation? Jex, they have left us no choice but to respond with overwhelming force. This time they will see the true might of the coalition." He turned to his officers. "Prepare the orbital assault cannons. I want every significant military installation on that planet obliterated. Let this serve as a lesson to any who would defy us." The bridge officers moved to carry out Voron's orders, but Dr. Jex's mind raced. He knew that if the coalition unleashed a full-scale assault, Earth's response would be fierce and potentially catastrophic. Voron's decision would leave humanity no choice but to reveal every last measure they had prepared. Meanwhile, on Earth, General Yara Singh monitored the coalition fleet's retreat, her mind still poised for any sign of another offensive. She knew all too well that a hasty withdrawal was unlikely. This temporary lull felt more like the calm before a storm. Around her, officers coordinated repairs and began gathering intelligence on the enemy's next move. Despite their initial success, everyone in the command center understood that this battle was far from over. At that moment, a technician looked up, his face pale. "General, we're detecting energy spikes from the Coalition's fleet, consistent with a large-scale orbital assault. They're preparing for a full bombardment." Back on the Coalition flagship, Dr. Jex turned to Voren with a grim look. "Admiral, we are facing an enemy that has transcended survival. They are fighting for their identity, their freedom. This is not a species that will ever surrender." Voren's pride faltered, overtaken by the harsh reality of the situation. You may be right," he admitted reluctantly, watching as another of his ships was struck down. "What do you suggest, Doctor?" Jex's voice was steady. "We must retreat. But more than that, we must recognize that humanity will never yield to threats. They have proven that they are capable of holding their own, even against our advanced technology. Continuing this fight will only lead to mutual destruction." Voren's shoulders sagged as he realized the truth. His ambitions, his belief in the Coalition's superiority, had blinded him. In his arrogance, he had provoked a species whose strength lay not in technology, but in resilience and unbreakable unity. He nodded slowly, his voice barely audible. "Signal the retreat." The Coalition fleet disengaged, pulling back from Earth's defenses. The battered ships limped away, leaving behind a planet that had proven itself a force to be reckoned with. As the last of the Lyrax ships faded into the void, General Singh issued a final command. "Stand down, but maintain all defenses on high alert. They may be gone, but this isn't over." In the quiet that followed, Earth's leaders gathered to assess the cost of the battle. The damage was extensive, but the planet had survived. Humanity had endured, proving to the universe that they would not be subjugated. In his quarters, Dr. Jex sat in silence, contemplating the day's events. He knew that Earth's resistance had changed everything. The Coalition would never see humanity the same way again, and Jex suspected that his own species would need to rethink their place in the galaxy. Humanity's strength had been underestimated, and now, the universe had every reason to shiver at the thought of humans' fury. The remnants of the Lyrax Coalition fleet drifted through space, battered and humbled. The defeat weighed heavily on Admiral Thomas Voren, who stood silent on his flagship's bridge. The humiliation of his failed conquest lingered, a stinging reminder of his misjudgment. Beside him, Dr. Jex Myrna observed the planet Earth on the screen, the scars of battle still visible but overshadowed by the resilience of humanity's defenders. In his heart, Jex knew that this battle was a pivotal moment not just for Earth but for the galaxy. Voren's voice, hollow and bitter, broke the silence. "They won, Doctor. These humans proved me wrong. We provoked them, and they rose to meet us with everything they had." Jex nodded, choosing his words carefully. "Admiral, it is not a weakness to admit they have shown us a strength that goes beyond technology. Humans fight with a purpose we have yet to fully understand. Their unity, their willingness to defend their sovereignty with such ferocity. It is rare." Voren's shoulders slumped. "The High Council will not be pleased. They wanted Earth as a resource, a tool in our expansion. Now, they'll see this as a complete failure." Jex turned, his gaze steady. "Perhaps, Admiral, this is an opportunity to advocate for a new approach. We've seen humanity's power firsthand. Their resistance and resilience make them unique, not merely as another conquered species, but as potential allies." Voren regarded Jex with a hint of skepticism. "Allies? You think they would ever work alongside us after we attempted to subjugate them?" Jex's many eyes flickered thoughtfully. "Humanity values peace but will not tolerate threats. If we come to them with humility, seeking collaboration instead of control, we may find they are more reasonable than we assumed. They have shown restraint, Admiral. They could have pursued us, sought vengeance, yet they held back." Voren was silent, mulling over the implications. He had been wrong about Earth, but if Jex was right, perhaps there was a path forward that didn't end in mutual destruction. "Very well, Doctor. I will take your words to the Council, though I do not expect them to be receptive." As Voren and Jex deliberated their next steps, Earth's leaders convened in the Global Command Center, their faces reflecting a mixture of relief and determination. President David Martinez addressed the assembly, his voice calm yet firm. "Today, we faced an unprecedented threat, and we prevailed," he began, his gaze sweeping across the room. "The Lyrax Coalition came to our doorstep with intentions of conquest, and they underestimated us. Let this be a message to any who would consider Earth a target. We are united, and we will defend our home with everything we have." General Yara Singh, who had been at the forefront of Earth's defense, nodded in agreement. "Our forces responded with precision and resilience. We've proven that we are not a weak, divided world, but a united front capable of withstanding even the most advanced adversaries." Martinez continued, his tone thoughtful. While we celebrate this victory, we must remain vigilant. The coalition's retreat does not guarantee our safety. They may return, or others may see us as a challenge to be overcome. We must be prepared. Always. Singh leaned forward, her voice decisive. I propose we strengthen our defenses further, expand the capabilities of the Leviathan fleet, and enhance our planetary shields. We've tasted the dangers of complacency, and we cannot afford to assume peace will last. Martinez nodded. Agreed. But let us also consider that while the Lyrax came as conquerors, they may be open to negotiation. Perhaps there's a way forward that doesn't end in perpetual conflict. In a surprising gesture, Martinez addressed the Global Assembly, his voice carrying the weight of a plea. If the coalition contacts us with intentions of peace, we must be willing to listen. Humanity's strength is not only in our ability to fight, but in our willingness to extend a hand when the battle has ended. Around the world, citizens listened to the president's address. They had witnessed the destruction of war firsthand, but his words resonated. Humanity's victory wasn't just about defeating an alien armada. It was about showing the universe that Earth was willing to stand its ground without abandoning its ideals. A few days later, a communication request came from the Lyrax coalition. Jex's face appeared on Earth's primary screens, his tone markedly different from the previous threats and ultimatums. People of Earth, he began, his voice humble. I am Dr. Jex Myrna of the Lyrax Coalition. I come to you with a message, not of surrender or conquest, but of respect. The command center fell silent as Jex continued. You have shown us a strength we had not anticipated. Our actions were driven by a misunderstanding of who you are as a species. I speak now as a representative of those within the coalition who see value in peace. We propose a truce and, if you are willing, a dialogue to understand each other. Martinez and Singh exchanged a glance, sensing the significance of this moment. They had the power to respond with anger, to demand reparations, or to seek retribution, but that was not Earth's way. Martinez replied, his voice calm and measured. Dr. Jex, we accept your proposal for peace. Let us move beyond this conflict and work together to ensure that this galaxy does not fall to fear and violence. Let this be the beginning of a new era, one based on mutual respect. The days that followed were filled with tense but hopeful negotiations. Jex, now Earth's primary liaison with the coalition, worked tirelessly to convey the human message to his own people. He met with resistance, particularly from factions within the coalition, who still viewed humanity as a threat. Yet, as more members of the Council learned of Earth's resolve and restraint, they began to reconsider their position. The galaxy took notice. News of Earth's stand against the coalition spread rapidly, reaching distant civilizations who had long considered humanity an isolated and inconsequential species. Now, they saw Earth as a formidable presence, one that could stand with dignity among the stars. Months later, a formal alliance was established, a fragile yet groundbreaking agreement between Earth and the Lyrax coalition. It was an uneasy partnership, but it marked a step forward, a chance for cooperation where once there had been only fear and animosity. General Singh, overseeing the expansion of Earth's defense programs, remained cautious but optimistic. She knew that peace was fragile and that Earth must remain prepared. Yet in the back of her mind, she also knew that this alliance represented a victory far greater than any battle. It was proof that humanity could shape its own destiny, not just through force but through diplomacy and understanding. As the first joint mission between Earth and Lyrax forces took place, a peaceful exploration of uncharted regions of space, the universe truly began to take note. Humanity was no longer an isolated species but a growing power, respected and feared in equal measure. And somewhere, far from Earth's gleaming cities and warships, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. They bore witness to a moment that would shape the galaxy, a reminder of what could happen when humans were provoked, and what they could achieve when their strength was tempered with compassion. The message had been sent, both to those who watched in awe and to those who still plotted in the shadows. When humans were pushed, they stood their ground with a fury that made the universe itself shiver. But when they chose peace, they built a future that inspired hope across countless worlds. For as long as humanity endured, they would be known as a species that valued freedom, unity, and a fierce determination to protect what was theirs, yet tempered with a wisdom to seek peace when given the chance. And that, as both friend and foe would come to learn, was what truly made them formidable.